All right, so we back in today with organizational development. It will start with leadership, and then we go with management, and then we go with organizational development, and we go to the nonprofit development. That basically is how the second sector of this community education program going on. But let's start with the second field, leadership, which is go back with the leadership field. Last time we were talking about trait theories, basically the classical theory. Great man theory believes that great people was born with a great mission, that will possess a couple of traits and special characteristics that other cannot have. That's how they become their leaders. Just showing up intelligent, sociable, empathy, right? And all kind of other stuff. There are five categories that basically that people believe. Scientifically, collective, like large model of 3 to 8,000 different leaders in the field. But the problem is attacking too much on the nature itself. You was born with that trait, but you luckily was developed with that trait. So that's how you become a leader. But it seems like people not agree with that, especially the people who spending so much time of learning and training to possess something we're talking about today, skill, right? And they believe that, well, I'm gonna start with employee. We'll start with interns at company, and then moving up to the office manager, and then the regional manager, and then executive level, and then we go at but how I cannot become the leaders when we just possessing the thing that only some people naturally born with that can have. So that a fight between the nature and nurture. If trait theory is a nature, skill theory and other stuff going on with that is gonna be the nurture, which we can learn. That's the basic idea of this. So today we're going to go into some kind of brief theory, which is scientifically not the thing that we assume we learn in society with a skill in general speaking, but it's more scientifically based on the leadership style. Skill approach to leadership, with Nordhaus, the newest version of that book, Leadership Theory and Practice, is so what Nordhaus believes that this is the beginning of the leader-centered perspective that emphasizes the competence. We can connect it with the competence theory now today, which is a little bit contrast with the equal or justice theory. That we have equal men, equal woman, and equal different gender in the same system. But long times ago, this civilization was born by the top performers and high competencies, right? High competence individual who can do the best on the top of the pyramid. And yeah, there's a whole different uh, controversy idea of that. So we're not going deep with this time. But skill, and we're still now using skill as the part of evaluation about are people doing good or not. So that basically it is. So this theory, in this course today, we're talking two basic modules. We're still properly using now today. Some of that, you might not know it, but in general, it's skill. That it counts three administrative skill module in 1955, which is based on a lot for this program. And second, the more comprehensive one, but much more complicated one from Mumford and other group of scientists in 2000, and still keep going on, based on military database. It's called Comprehensive Skill-Based Module. And because it's called comprehensive, it's quite complicated, but let's see how it's going. Okay, so we start with the original of all this thing first. The basic leadership skill module of Katz, 1955, is a little bit idea about who is Robert L. Katz. He is American social and organizational psychologist, and he is the one who created the concept of managerial skills. Okay, this is like decades ago, and based on his theory, which is this module right here, it's quite simple, but it's still popular now today. That we break it down. It's just in this management system. But this thing you got to be a manager first. You have three set of skill: technical skill, which is the ability to work with things. Like you work with machine, you work with computers, you work with mails, you work with vehicle. Is the things. Second, the human skill is the ability to work with people, right? People to people. You have a group of 5 to 10 in team. Everybody have different skill set, different technical skill set. When it's called a skill set, marketing, sale, accounting, IT, right? All other stuff. Even in marketing, gonna break it down: digital marketing and traditional marketing. The only group of 7, 10 people. So they have different skill set, right? Digital marketing work with social media, for example, Google Ad, for example. But regular physical marketing or strategic marketing is working on with the campaign, working on with a break it out a project, right? Accounting is on a number and on the budget plannings and so on. So they all have a different technical skill. How you come up with all of them to talking with each other, sharing the idea, giving tasks with each other. We use a human skill, right? Work with people. Some people have pretty good technical skill, but a little bit attitude and personality, a little bit contrast with other. But the whole idea of personality is so complicated. But how the manager do with that? You need to have a human skill. There no technical skill is working on human, right? And the last one, a conceptual skill, which is the ability to work with idea. Yeah, you see, that is something you don't see around. Work with idea, work with strategy, work with vision, work with big picture, work with the conflict and concern, right? Work with internal and external issue, work with the address, the conflict, all that thing you call concept, right? And this work with ideas and concept is something really, really close with philosophy idea. Yeah, when was the last time you hear about ideas? Where the origin of the word ideas, right? The idealism, right? Which is not materialism. If you are materialism, it's hard to work with concept, work with idea, with the abstract thing. Because you don't think about future. You don't think about the past. You don't think about others. You just think about the thing happened to you right now. You cannot think about something further than your sense, right? And depend on Kant, and of course we see a lot of ideas coming on. This does not work. It does work that way. You cannot go up. And you see in here, the top management, they use more human and conceptual skill than other, right? And the supervisory just used more technical and human because it supervise other people with just technical skill and make sure they're doing work. And this is some emphasized idea of basic leadership skill, yeah, which is we can see so far. And of course, the idea of this he got talking about is this skill is manifesting in the idea and what we do it. And we try to articulate it as a right situation and condition and position. But of course, that is a part of the weakness of this module. It's not have some idea about a concept. Even we have conceptual skill, but how to train it, how to get it work, right? How to move from the non-conceptual skill into conceptual skill. Yeah, this is theory. It's module, not let we know it, but it's just the first module from 1955, right after the trade theory fall out. This is something we should think of. And the most revised module of this is a study from Peterson and Fleet in 2004. The title is The Ongoing Legacy of R.L. Katz, an update typology and management skills. So basically, we give more skill expand on this. At least you're starting with really basic definition of this skill, which is skill need to have 3 categories, right? We have some dictionary definition of skill, which is ability to apply knowledge into practical cases. That basically is a general definition of skill in dictionary. But in psychology and in the science, social science, we have got to make it clear that what a definition of skill. And Peterson and Fleet make definition of skill is based on 3 domains. The first one is the existence of a domain of specific knowledge base. What that means? You got to have knowledge first to apply the skill. There's no way you can apply it, doing something work without some specific knowledge about that before. You can learn from school, you can learn from your life, you can learn it from your parent, I don't know, but that is knowledge. You got to have the knowledge first and you do it practically, right? The second part is the method of accessing this knowledge base. But you got to access that knowledge, right? You got to in your memory. You don't have memory, pretty good memory. Have your notebook, have your computers, right? You can ask someone to help you mentoring. I don't know, but you need to apply this knowledge into action. That is the third one: is the ability to enact a set of behavior or cognition using a retrieved knowledge to perform a given task. So that is the basic idea of a skill. You need knowledge, you need to transfer, and you need a task, and you need a behavior or cognition. So that's why the idea of skill is so complicated. When it goes to the idea of how we build up our skill, we go with knowledge. But you can possess all the knowledge of the world, but you cannot transfer it to action, into behavior. It means nothing. It's just information, right? It's not coming to an outcome, right? It's not coming to a result. So this is the difference between the skill and knowledge, right? Got to transfer into a task. Got to get it work to really meaning the skill. And we see up here the set behavior and the psych action. That is something related to behavior science, psychology of behavior. And with this new idea in 2004 study, they have some updating about their module of CANS, this empirical testing from MENS 10 years after that module, 20 years more in 2004. Basically, they testing in a bigger population what is CANS testing on, and see that it's still good. It's still pretty good. Not as something we need to criticize or critique or remove it on the line of literature of science. So basically, that's the basic idea of science. We try to apply it, and if it not work, we say it not work. If it's wrong, we say it wrong, right? I've heard the HBR Harvard Business Report doing some sort of the idea to republish his article in the HBR Classic in 1974 and 1986, the republished 3 times because it's still good at that time. And of course, the idea can still impact to multiple books with is on the book titles and the author we have in so far as 2004. Of course, the leadership theory and practice from Nordhaus in republishing like 9 to 10 version, and skill approach of CAN is still there. Improving the idea of this, that is the milestone of the leadership study. Okay, so it is something we need to know. It is something practical that we might hear somewhere about a skill, a leadership skill, and we don't know where it come. Which come first, which not, which is get along to what. This is some idea. Skill, when we talk about technical skill, ability to use method, procedure, process, tools to perform specific tasks. They're a little bit more comprehensive than just the domain that the CANs used to making. That is just ability to work with things, right? But this thing use stuff to do tasks, right? And they adding to technical skill. They have 2 really extending skill. Is analytic. Analytic ability to identify key variables, see how they are interrelated, and decide which ones should receive most attention. That's it. And that definition of analytical skill. And decision-making skill is ability to choose effective solution from among alternatives. So we have 5 options. Pick one. That's decision-making, right? So decision-making is pretty close with the technical and human skill. That's why I got it right side. And analytical is close to the conceptualized skill, the right on this side. Okay, let's see. We have human skill here, ability to work cooperatively with others, communicate effectively, to motivate and train others, to resolve conflict, to be a team player. Yeah, basically, that a lot of domain in leadership. And you see that every word of action working up here. Cooperative, right? Communicate, motivate, train, conflict solving, and team playing. It's all different type skill already. Now we can break it out into every detail of this skill in a different way. But with this module, they for their own human skill. In that, they have 2 skills, the most important, that we already talked about it. Communication, ability to send and receive information, thought and feeling, to create a common understanding meaning. right, on this side. And the second one, interpersonal, the ability to develop and maintain the trust and open relationship with superiors, subordinate, and peer to facilitate free exchange information and provide a productive work setting. This is one. This is something we emphasize a lot in our part of the communication interpersonally and intrapersonally. Because that basically the idea of human society, right? In any kind of group, in psychological and sociological approach. Person, you're talking with yourself, intrapersonal communication. And you talk with other person, that is interpersonal, right? And in organization, they break it down into the superior, your boss, your peer, and subordinate, someone under your control or your management. Make sure they well understand and have good relationship. Relationship is the bridge, and communication is the way we transfer it. Make sure it's clear. And then we go with conceptual. Conceptual skill is the ability to see the organization as a whole and to solve the problem from systematic point of view. So this way, the conceptual is quite narrow into the organizational standpoint, but yeah, I think it's easier to understand than the idea, this ability to work with ideas, which is because if you understand it in a philosophical standpoint, organization is just ideas, right? We just collaborate with each other with a specific regulation and value and task. It's an idea. It's a more complicated idea, well-structured idea than the team, basically. Organization have multiple teams, but we all start with one team. It's just like society. We start with one group, and then other 7 different domain of group is in the sociological agent. And then all that group interact with each other, internal and external, to become society, basically this. Government, basically the same thing. It's just different group of people doing different tasks. And we come up with agreement ideologically or conceptually to working on something bigger, right? Nationalism, right? Something like that. We talk about here diagnostic, ability to determine a probable cause of problem, examining a symptom or observed by the manager, flexible ability to deal with ambiguous and complex situations and rapidly changing demands, right? And the last one, the center, is the administrative ability to follow the policy, the procedure, process paperwork in an orderly manner and manage expenditures within a limited set of budget. So this administrative is pretty close in a management technical module, which is procedure, paperwork, order, and limit the budget, that administrative skill. But the conceptual line is something we work differently, right? So this thing is the hardening part, functioning, the whole big idea. But on the conceptual line, flexible diagnostic is a way that human inside that in the functioning, right? Interpersonal communication is something human doing, well, especially in human society, right? And if you see that in your functioning is more autopilot system on your IT, and you'll see that they're more administrative than the human, a little bit more technical than other conceptual or flexible diagnostic, because yeah, basically there's not much change to be flexible. Everything under control by administrative and technical and analytical and decision making. But basically, if we try to break it down in a narrow and modern language of the skill, that modern so far, if we talk to someone who have the leadership skill, in my standpoint, yeah, they might be need to possess all of this 10 skill, at least to really qualify to be leaders with leadership skill, leadership skill.